Hello, hello. Greetings and welcome to another live stream, monthly live chat. Let me just open up the comment section. Wherever you are joining from, let me know so I can give you a shout out. For those of you watching this for the first time, whether you're joining live or watching the replay, this is a monthly live chat. This is edition number 37. So we've been doing it for 3 years already, which is pretty exciting. And I hope for those of you who join and watch the replay that you have found the information useful. We go through all types of topics, dance stuff and personal stuff, leadership, communication, mindset, literally everything at this point. Today is going to be kind of focused a little bit on dance and art and expression and preferences. So for those of you who are dancers out there, this is something that hopefully you can resonate with and either use the tools to improve the way you communicate and interact with other people in the community, or at the very least, use them to build your shield, build your armor so that you can engage and express yourself without any issues. Couple of announcements before we get started. For those of you who don't know, I've got a new audio podcast, Empowered with Magna. It's available on all the Spotify. I was going to say it's definitely available on Spotify, but it's available on all the podcast streaming platforms. So go check that out. They are shorter tidbits of information that focus on specific topics compared to the live chat, which is a lot longer, going into a deep dive into various topics. So again, wherever you're joining from, let me know. Shoot me a comment and let me know where you're joining from in terms of city or country, and I will give you a shout out. Also to note, if you are looking for online courses and classes to develop your dancing or to train your fitness levels and improve your physical health, they are available on my site, magnagopal.com. There are some courses that are specific to spin technique, beginners as well, and master classes that go into about 3 to 4 hours of instructional video and content to break everything down there. So don't forget to check that out. And of course, if you're joining for the first time and you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do that. It is a very simple way to support the channel and support me and the efforts here. All right, so let me get started with today's topic. As you guys can see, the thumbnail for this is your way the only way? And the reason this comes up, or the reason it's come up for me and I decided to address it as an entire topic, is because there are so many comments that I see online of people just kind of being negative for no reason whatsoever. Like looking at a video of somebody dancing or attending an event and then basically just leaving negative comments about their experience or what they are seeing. So my question to all of you, how many of you watch videos? How many of you watch dance videos, for example, or obviously attend dance events? And then if you watch videos, do you also go through the comments to see what people have said? Or do you leave your own comments? And if you're going through comments, do you ever come across negative comments? If you do, let me know in the chat or let me know in the comments. And of course, like I said before, if you're joining right now, let me know where you're joining from so I can give you a shout out. So the reason I say this is because of the way many people comment, right? So many people think their way is the right way or the only way to do something. And obviously, I disagree because I've built a career out of doing kind of what wasn't common or traditional in the salsa community. I kind of broke many of the rules and many of the traditions, and it's now much more widely accepted when people are actually dancing. It's not something that is completely blasphemous to not stick to the basic or include some kind of movement or styling that is not your common styling that was many, many years ago. And the comments I've received are interesting. So I want to share something. This was actually during the launch of my Mastery in Multiples program, which is on its fourth edition right now. It is a program that is designed to develop your technique for spins. Spins are a common aspect of our dance as it is today. Maybe they weren't back in the day, but they definitely are today. So the program itself is developed specifically for that. One of the comments that I got was not even on my page. It was referenced to somebody else's page. And this person was saying that I find this page of an international salsa instructor, and it makes me so sad to see what academies are teaching and how to spin when they should be teaching how to dance to the clave. Because every video I've seen of dancers was that they're not even dancing on the clave, even the instructor, but they get offended when someone tells them what they are doing incorrectly because they're racking in the big dollars. So why try to stop them? But they really need to teach dance and salsa the correct way. Sorry, the grammar on this post is difficult, so I'm doing my best to try and present it in a way that you can understand as well as I can understand. And I can't stand to look at these videos because I can't make sense of what they're trying to do. They're ripping people off, and they are basically damaging the salsa community. Another comment was, I just can't understand how spins are salsa the way salsa is supposed to be. It's not real salsa. And then another comment about, I'm not here to put anybody down or be negative. Um, but people who know about dancing will tell you that new dancers don't go where old school dancers are. Ask yourselves why. What we're trying to tell the young kids that are learning is don't get ripped off by all these new styles who think instructors who think they're instructors. Old school dancers have been doing the right way all along. Go find your old school dancers. That's some comments I received. And there are many comments. If you ever check out any of my dance videos, you will see negative comments on there too. Not all the time, but sometimes. I also saw videos of people commenting on Terry's dancing, and I actually recall him responding to one of them saying, "Oh, here we go again." Right? Somebody was saying something about that's not salsa. There's too many turns and not enough basic elements of the dance. I've seen people comment on a dance with myself and Leon where they said that that's not salsa, that's breakdancing. I've seen comments on tradition or sensual bachata where they say, well, this is not how bachata is supposed to be danced. This is not traditional bachata. And on a completely separate note, I've seen comments by people who attend events and say, the DJ sucked. The DJ was terrible. I didn't like any of the music. The music was too modern or too old school or too commercial or something like that. Now, with the DJing thing, I actually wrote a blog article on that, and I'm going to comment on that really quickly. Your preferences for music might not be everyone else's preferences. And if you think about just the DJing aspect, what is the purpose of the DJ? It's to fill the dance floor. So most of the times when I see comments like this about the DJ sucked, well, hate to say it, but that dance floor was packed. You might not have been on it, but the dance floor was packed. So were they doing their job? I think so. I have personally had many events that I've attended where I did not like what the DJ is playing. It was not inspiring to me to want to go out and dance. I didn't feel it. I didn't feel the music. But do I go and then post a comment about that DJ and saying, "Oh, this DJ completely sucks?" No, because I understand the difference between someone doing something poorly or incorrectly versus my own personal preferences. And I'm not going to express my preferences as the standard, as the norm, because I'm feeling entitled that I should have somebody cater entirely to me. Who knows? Maybe the songs that I pick would actually clear the dance floor. I don't know. I mean, some of them are kind of fast, or some of them are very instrumental, and maybe other people don't like it. And me, or the DJ catering to me and my request might actually empty out the dance floor. Who knows? I don't know why I have this headphone in. I don't actually need it right now anymore. So, what's the problem, right, with not liking something? Oh, I've got a couple comments. Richie, hi, Amsterdam. Wade, Queens, New York. Michael, again from Boston. Nice to see you. Or Richie also saying, yeah, that's a great comment too about the dance floor being too packed, right? People are still enjoying themselves. The comment is more about your own preference. Maybe you would prefer to have a lot more space to dance, and that's not what you're getting. So, what's the problem with not liking something? There's no problem with not liking something. There's absolutely no problem in having your own preferences. There's a problem when you misrepresent your personal preferences as standards for everyone else to adhere to, that everyone else should be just as upset as you when your preferences are not met, and then to say that something is bad or wrong because you don't like it. That's where the problem lies. Michael mentioned, sometimes when I hear people say those comments, I have to wonder if people sometimes have lost what the true deep meaning of the dance is, which is just to have fun. And I don't judge others on how they dance. I'm going to actually show this comment because this is a very appropriate comment and a way that we should all approach it. And I'm going to talk a little bit more in depth about that momentarily. So, why is it a problem? Well, first of all, what is a problem? The problem is misrepresenting your preferences as standards for everybody else. Why is it a problem? Because there are multiple ripple effects of this. And this is the part that I don't think people really stop and reflect before they communicate, before they post a comment, before they make a social media post, is the impact that it has on yourself as well as the community at large. So, one negative impact is you are stifling creativity and joy of other people. If you sit there, if I'm expressing myself and I'm having fun and I'm being creative and I'm being playful, and I did not have the thick skin that I had to develop in this career to get to where I am, and I'm just getting in there, and I see a bunch of negative comments, I might not want to do it anymore. I might feel like I can't express myself. And now I am a carbon copy of somebody else, or worse, I quit. You end up sustaining a closed mindset. And that also limits your own pursuit of creativity and authenticity, because you think there's only one way and you can't even break out of your own box to approach and experience and embrace the beauty of different ways to express something, different ways to communicate, different ways to connect with another person. The other element is that you are also, by commenting and posting, you are dividing the community. You're being divisive in what you are doing. You could instead find the things that you like and comment on them in a positive way and say, oh, I love this. This reminds me of how salsa used to be traditionally. I really appreciate that era of this dance, and great job at doing that. But instead, you find something that you don't like, that someone is doing differently, and you leave a negative comment. And then by doing that, you are kind of spreading that negativity. You end up encouraging others to chime in, because by seeing one person do it, we sometimes feel like, well, it's okay to do it then. And depending on your own following, you might be actually enabling that negativity and promoting it and letting it grow and fester into the community. So you're kind of discouraging the diversity that makes the community beautiful. And then the other aspect of dividing the community is you make it less inclusive, right? You by by putting out those negative comments, you are pretty much saying, if you do this, which I don't like, but I'm going to set it as a standard, then you do not belong. And that is not what community is about. That is not what this dance and this art form is about. And then finally, and I'm sure there's more to add. So if you have thoughts on other ways that negative comments impact us, the person that we're commenting to, or the video, or whatever the content that we're commenting on, or the community at large, by all means, throw it into the comments. I'd be glad to share it with everybody else here. The last one that I have is that you're limiting the evolution of the art form. You know, because nothing is today as it was in the past. Everything, like technology, music, media, movies that we watch, right? The way we consume content, the way we communicate, the way we express ourselves, everything has changed. Everything has its pros and cons, but everything has changed. And the only way things don't end up in museums and keep evolving is by embracing the change, and you can still keep standards alive. You can still have, let's say, going back to dance, you can still have a school that teaches traditional salsa, right? The way these people were talking about it in the comments, it was like, oh, this is an old school video. This is how it's supposed to be danced. And they weren't doing anything fancy, nothing special by today's standards. It's beautiful to watch. I appreciate it, but I don't think I would spend 20 plus years learning that. I would want more. And so you can still have that tradition, but it's that evolution of it that keeps it alive and fresh and keeps it developing and growing and inviting new ideas and ways to express. Like, that evolution gets limited by people who throw comments out there that are negative, that are constantly saying the new way is not the good way, the old way was the best way. Right? I'm I'm sure that applies to many more things, and if you have examples, by all means, throw them into the comments. Um, Wade said, one of the problems is that you might not find people that share the same feelings, and now you have to sit there along with your opinions. Yep. And that's the divisive part of sharing negative comments, right? By putting negativity out there, by putting positivity out there, let me start with, you will bring in people who agree with you. People who disagree with you might not engage, but they're not going to feel any type of resentment towards you for saying you like something. But when you're throwing negative comments about this is wrong, that is bad, when really it is a personal preference, there are people who are going to agree with you, sure, but there are also going to be people who look at you and say, wow, what a jerk. How closed-minded can this person be? I don't want anything to do with them. So you kind of limit that element too of your own connection and your own inclusion within the community by being divisive with your own comments and your statements. And there was one thing that I was speaking to a close friend of mine about the same topic, because we were discussing just kind of negative comments that are posted on people's videos, particularly in dance. And I said that dance dance is like a language. The purpose of it is to connect with another person, to understand another person, to express ourselves, to learn and to grow. That is the purpose of a language, right? I mean, why do we learn English from when we're really young? I mean, English for me, at least, maybe not for all of you, perhaps it's a different language, but why do we learn that, right? From a young age, so we can learn how to express ourselves, so we can learn how to understand someone else who's expressing themselves, so we can learn in general about other things in this world, so we can grow and then contribute something back and ultimately communicate with other people that we have to communicate with, because we are not islands in ourselves. We are a community. No matter how much you feel like an independent introvert who wants to be a hermit in your home, you still end up connecting with other people at one point or another. The other aspect of it that's like a language is that it is contextual, right? Your how you communicate often depends on who you're communicating with, right? You don't, or shouldn't rather, if you're an advanced dancer with all of your advanced moves and everything that you know, you shouldn't be throwing all of that onto a beginner, because who you're communicating with, who you're trying to connect with, who you hope understands you, does not understand all of those things, does not know all of the things that you know. So you have to adjust how you are going to communicate so that the other person can understand. It's very similar to doctors, right? Like doctors have all of this knowledge, all of this training. They understand the body inside out and all these different parts, and they've got medical terminology that is above the average person's head. But a doctor that's speaking to a child to try and tell that child what's wrong or what's happening doesn't speak in those terms. They might speak in those terms to their fellow colleagues, but when the who changes from some advanced person in the same level of knowledge and information and experience as them to someone like a kid, they change the way they speak. So, context of language is similar to dance. How we communicate, how we express ourselves often does and should depend on who we are expressing ourselves to. And ultimately, back to the purpose, what do we hope to accomplish? Do we want to connect with that person? Because if we don't want to connect with that person, then sure, do whatever you want. But if we want to connect with that person, we're going to adjust our language, adjust our expression to the levels that they understand. Wade said to Michael, they get allergies to new ways. People are trying to enjoy the gift of dance and music. Yep. um, the other aspect of dance as a language is that the what you are communicating or what you're learning or how also depends on the where, right? There's context in that sense too. So let's say with dance, for example, you have Cuban style, which is quite popular in many places, but most likely very, very popular in Cuba itself. You might not find a lot of people who dance on two in Cuba because there isn't an environment, the where that they are learning a style of dance doesn't actually say, well, you know what, you should learn too. Why? There's nobody else dancing here on two. Why would I learn something that no one else is speaking or is interested in speaking? So why am I going to try and learn that when this is the environment that I'm going to be practicing it? It's the same as you don't really find a lot of people speaking Latin, not Spanish, Latin, like old Latin in the US, right? Maybe it was part of the speech many, many hundreds of years ago, but it's not part of the speech today. because that's not how people communicate here. Why would you learn that unless it was for some educational pursuit? You know, you are want to be a historian, or you want to be an academic who specializes in Latin, and that's what you do. But if you are learning a language to connect with the people in your environment in the US, you're going to most likely try to learn English. So much of what we do, what we pursue, what we attempt to understand depends on where we are situated. You know, people who knock on two dancing or on one dancing or Cuban style, and look at dancers and say, "Well, hey, you know, you shouldn't be dancing like that. That's not the way it's danced." Or people who are incorporating other styles of dance into their dancing. New York has tons of dance schools of every genre, right? You got jazz, you got hip hop, you got funk, you got voguing, you've got African dances and different types of African dances. You've got salsa with various styles, zouk, kizomba, bachata, everything. So people who are avid dancers who are learning many different styles will most likely incorporate many of those styles into one form of dance, like salsa. Whereas in another city, you don't have access to all those things, so you salsa. Oop, did I lose my connection? I saw myself blank out for a second. Fingers crossed. I'm still here. Am I still here? Is everyone still here? Challenges. I saw StreamYard's. Your connection is bad. All right, I think I'm back. Okay. So yeah. So basically that aspect, yes, okay, cool. um Basically that aspect of dance as a language is important to consider when we are communicating and when we are listening to other people communicate, to understand what is their purpose. You know, what are they doing? Why are they doing it? Where are they doing it? And perhaps that will explain the how they're doing it. And if we could open our minds to that, I think we would be much more accepting of different styles of dance, much more accepting of the nuances, the new things that are added to the dance as well. You know, going back to language, like even the way we speak English today, forget the Latin part of it, the way we speak English today isn't how it was spoken hundreds of years ago, right? The evolution of our language, even in society with teenagers and slang. I don't even understand half the slang that's out there, but it exists. I've heard reporters on news shows, news anchors bring up slang to talk about a certain event that involved teenagers, or if they're including them in some kind of interview, because even if you don't like it, by commenting negatively, you can dislike it, right? But by commenting negatively or trying to push it away or trying to ignore it, you're not going to eliminate it, right? You're not going to end up saying, because I don't like it and I keep on saying all these negative things, then this thing is no longer going to exist. That's just not how it works. What you end up doing instead is you push the people that do that thing or speak that way or communicate that way or express themselves that way. You end up pushing those people away, and you make your circle a lot smaller as a result. And maybe that's not your intention, but that typically ends up happening, right? Someone who's going to sit there and tell me, wow, your style of dancing is wrong. That's not how you do it. You should be doing this, this, this. Even though when I'm dancing, I'm having fun. My partner's having fun. We're being musical. We're connected to each other and the music. And we are trying new things. And at the end, we finish with a big hug and say, can't wait for the next one. Like, you're telling me all of that is wrong. Why? Because I didn't hit the basic the way you wanted me to? Well, you're not going to change the fact that I'm going to continue to express myself creatively, or that I'm going to continue to have fun in this way, that's exploring and curious about the style, what you will do is push me away from you, because I'm going to look at you and say, well, do I want to engage with somebody like this who's so negative and closed-minded? Probably not. And that kind of, it brings me to this point. I still remember this one experience I had with somebody who was critical of my dancing, who had made some posts. Oh yeah, that style of dancing, um, she's too crazy, too this, too that, all these negative things about my dancing. And I didn't remember the person, but at some event, this person met me. I didn't recall who it was. I didn't recall that they had made all these comments and asked me to dance. So why? Are you opening your mind up, or are you, I don't even know, or how to describe it. But it's interesting that sometimes happens too. And my main thing really with today's topic, and I'm trying to keep this one short just because it was really on the tip of my tongue and on the front of my mind, because I kept, just a bunch of comments were popping up, again, like I said, on my videos, but also on other videos of people I know, people I respect, people I admire for their skill levels, and really wanted to address it. But like the only reason we have a dance community that's as global as it is, like to all corners and reaches of the world, is because of our acceptance that there are different styles, that there are different ways to express yourself, and that we, regardless of our level, our experience, our knowledge, our education in the dance, we are open to other styles of expression, because ultimately it's about the connection. And if those people are connecting, they are happy, they are having fun, then what is it to you? If you're looking at it negatively. Completely off topic. What color is that lipstick? Actually, I don't know. I'll take a picture of it and I'll put it into Facebook later for you, Neelam. Um, so yeah, so thinking about um, how we comment and how we approach different styles. Main thing, like if you're one of the people who has commented in the past, hopefully you've seen the light and changed your ways. But if you're one of those people who very recently did it and might want to do it again, perhaps even on this video later as a replay, be mindful before you speak. Think about what you want to say and the impacts of it beyond your one comment and hitting send or hitting post. Okay. If people are enjoying themselves, if you're looking at a video where someone's having fun, who are you to say it's wrong or it's not the right way to do it? Because maybe it's not an expression of the dance. Maybe they're not trying to dance. Maybe they're just trying to connect with someone, move to the music, and have fun. There's no wrong way to do that. Every way is the right way because it's the right way for that person. If they're not hitting all the basics or all the counts or the clave, as this other person had said about the kind of traditional style, the real style of salsa, they're not hitting all of that. Are they still connected to the music? Are they still able to understand each other and move in synchronized in a synchronized manner? Synchronized manner. Right? Are they connected to the music? Are they playing with it? Are they hitting some of those breaks? What is wrong with that? And then reflect on your own biases. Like, why do you feel so triggered by a different expression than your own, than what you have learned? Like, there are triggers within us. Because could it be the way you were taught? Because your instructors were like, no, this is the way, this is the right way, this is the only way? Is that why? Or do you feel like you're not capable And so because you can't actually do all the things other people are doing now, that it must be the wrong way, and um the only way you can protect your ego is by saying it's wrong. And could you learn and grow by being more open-minded? What could you learn by trying something new? What could you learn by just even opening your mind and saying, that's different than what I would do? It's not really what I like to do, but I wonder if I could do it. And I wonder what that feels like. And just being open to a new experience, whether it's physical, you actually trying it, or just visual consumption where you're just watching it. And if you think you're a great communicator, right? Or if you think you're great at dancing and you're this pro who's got decades of experience and, this is the way it's really done and I know the real salsa, or, you're some English professor and I know the right way to speak. If you're so great and your way is the only way and the right way, test yourself and try to connect with someone who's completely different. Because I'll say this, I feel like a pretty competent communicator. But the real true competence and effectiveness of my communication is not about the words I use or how I speak or the things that I know. It's about whether somebody else can understand me. And so as soon as I think that I am good at something, I will test myself with a new experience to see whether or not I can truly connect with another person. And that's one of the beautiful things about dance. That's why I enjoy dancing with people. When someone says, oh, that person dances off beat, I would like to try. All right, or that person dances a style that's like a mix of hip hop and this and that, and I've never really done it. I would like to try because I feel like I know myself well enough. Within dance, I feel like I know my body well enough to adapt quickly, but how quickly can I adapt? I mean, there's not that much adaptation taking place when you're just doing the same thing over and over and your mind and your body already know the answer to the question before it's even asked, or when the first word is iterated. It's very different to adapt on the fly. It's real adaptation, right? Real improvisation when you're confronted with something you've not seen before, what you've not experienced. So I like to challenge myself. And same thing with communication. I like to challenge myself and talk to people who have a different style than what I'm used to, who have a different opinion than what I have, and to see if I can communicate in a way that they can understand me, and if I can adjust my my biases or my standards or my rules to find ways to understand them too, right? Before knocking things down, something that's different, try it. And if you don't like it, no problem. You don't have to do it ever again. Or who knows, maybe you like it and then you get a chance to expand your mind and your expression. And if you do end up doing that, the latter, where you like it and you expand your mind and expression, you might even make a new connection as a result. And if you approach your preference that you don't like it with an open mind and not a judgmental approach, then you could still make a connection. You say, oh, this is interesting. It's not really my style, but I'll try it. It's not really something I would pursue. Why do you pursue it? Tell me what are the good things about it. And just by that, you don't have to like it. You don't have to want to do it ever again. But at least now you have open dialogue. That's not pushing somebody out. That's inclusive. That's inviting. That's welcoming. And then I just want to address some of the comments here. We are open to new ways of learning so evolution doesn't kick in our head. Wade, excellent. We have to be, right? Because if you're stuck in that old style, I hate to say it for that person that's making all these comments about everybody, me, teaching a spins program saying, oh, spins is not salsa. The old school salsa didn't have all of that stuff. Well, I hate to say it, but, the dance has evolved, and I'm not sure how well this person would do with that closed mind and that attitude in any social in New York. What are you going to do? Tell everybody you're dancing with that's wrong? That's not how to do it. Let me show you how. I'll tell you, you'll be standing on the corner for a long time. You might get one or two dances before that spreads, that this person is judgmental and critical of everything you do and thinks he knows it all, and nobody wants to dance with you. So good job. If that was your intention, probably wasn't, but that's what you end up getting. That's the impact. That's a ripple effect of that approach and that judgmental attitude. Great point, Wade. Um, Michael says, I come from the gaming world. I cannot stand when people say terrible things when I'm trying to have fun. People have told me in games that they hope I get cancer and die. I have found its insecurity. I don't love that anyone said that they hope you get cancer and die, but I love that you did comment on the insecurity aspect of it. And yes, that is an element of it, right? Like I said before, I mean, do you feel like you can't do what that other person is doing and that's why it's wrong? Is that the reason why you feel the need to, again, protect the ego and come attacking everything that shows you are not capable? And hate to say it, but it's not that you're not capable. It's that you're just not open-minded enough to even try. And yeah, when you're having fun, there's no standard. There's no right way to have fun and enjoy yourself. And that's the part, that the some of the comments that were there was like, "Oh, this is called sad." I think I talked about it in a previous live chat where someone was like, "I don't know what you're doing, but it looks sad." Like, sad? I mean, do you see the smiles that are on my face and the other person's face? And if there's anybody watching, their face too? How do you get to the conclusion of sad when people are having fun? And how do you knock someone's joy? Like that part I don't understand, especially that part. Now, maybe you're not having as much fun. As Michael said, the insecurity aspect of it, maybe you're not having as much fun yourself. You see other people having fun. You can't do what they're doing, or you can't seem to be open enough or free enough to have as much fun as them. And so you knock it, which is quite unfortunate. Cecile said, that's the beauty of salsa. So many different ways to interpret this beautiful music. Absolutely. And Michael, again, I love how my instructor is more focused on community. He has thrown people out who make people feel uncomfortable or say terrible things. I appreciate him for that. It helped me learn in a good way, good environment. Great comment. And I've talked about this in the past with like responsible leadership as well as last month's safe spaces. It's also important for us to step up if we are leaders in a community, if we are instructors, if we own a dance school, if we are running an event, to try to discourage that from taking place or limit its ability to enter that space so that other people can feel comfortable expressing themselves. Going back to my own dancing, if I had started, when I had started, if I listened to every negative comment about my creativity or my musicality and how incorrect it was by traditional standards of the dance, I would have given up a long time ago. I would have given up over 20 years ago. I would not be here today. I would not have seen the world. I would not have made the connections I've made. I would not have would not have experienced the joy that I've experienced by connecting with people around the world. Like a closed-minded attitude, you don't understand. And I hope people do, but you don't understand how much you're losing out on. You think you're winning by making some statement that knocks other people down, but you don't understand how much you're losing out on. And ultimately, it's to your benefit to have an open mind, to be inclusive, to be accepting. Like I said before, you don't have to like it. You don't have to do it. You don't have to want to do it ever again if you've done it and you didn't like it. But with certain things like art, dance, expression, communication. If it's working for somebody else, then it's working. And just because you don't like it doesn't mean it's wrong or bad or that it doesn't work. Ayumi said, "Your dance is the first time I have had the whole feeling of having fun with music and a partner. I was taught that pair dancing is a very fun thing to do. And I can't communicate well because my English is not good." That is a perfect statement. You said that perfectly in English. Thank you, Ayumi. And yeah, and this is kind of the other aspect of the instructional component of dance. It is really how we learn it that determines what we pursue and what we are accepting of when we see other people doing something similar. The person who had made that comment, I don't know if they run a school or, attend events or are a leader in their community. Clearly they've got their following on Facebook, but that person, if they are instructors and they are teaching, then what they're building is just uh, an army of people who are going to be judgmental. And some of the comments on those posts were just like that. Yeah, I totally agree. This salsa these days is just not what it was before. These people don't know how to dance and they don't listen to the music. And I'm thinking, who are you referring to? I mean, the examples that they give are the people whose videos they comment on. I'm like, that's not musical. I think they hit every break. So you really end up spreading that negativity. You end up limiting not just yourself, but the people that you're teaching, the people that you're leading from expressing themselves in a way that's authentic, the way that they might want to, but now they're scared to because you've just set the standard for what is right and what is wrong. Like, there's so many ripple effects. There's so many negative ripple effects. I just wish people would be more mindful of what they say and how they interact online. I don't care if they're anonymous or if they've got a face to their profile. Either way. And then for those of us who do receive those comments, right? Who are on the receiving end of these kind of posts or these comments, know your purpose, why you started, what you enjoy, what you want to do, and keep doing it. If your purpose is to have fun, keep that in mind. Don't let somebody else steal your joy. If your purpose is to connect, do what you need to do to connect with the person that you're connecting with. And if you've connected, you've made that connection, who cares what other people say? If your purpose is to connect with the music and it's not to a 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7 of a salsa shine and it's something different, do that. If it's a hop, I keep getting those comments. I have very different ways of interpreting the music. Like kids, right? Kids who are dancing and playing with whatever they hear, however they hear it. We're not sitting there saying, that's the wrong way to do it. No. Well, allow us as adults who are finding joy and hobbies that fulfill us, allow us to have that childlike curiosity and expression in those hobbies too. Like, don't lose that if you are pursuing it and you're getting negative comments, because there are always going to be haters. And who is it? Cat Williams, who said, damn, I can't remember it now. He said something like, if you don't have any haters, you need to go find yourself some, or something like that. Anyways, forget that. But there's always going to be haters. There are always going to be traditionalists. There are always going to be people that are closed-minded. It's not your job to change their mind. You can't also get rid of them. You can't typically change their mind, especially if they've got those thoughts ingrained for many years. It's really hard to, because they've also got their little bubble, right? Their reinforcing bubble that allows them to constantly hear the same things that support what they think. Can't change their mind. You can't get rid of them. You can only do you. At the end of the day, you can only do you. So I always talk about, like, making sure you know what your purpose is, so that no matter what comes your way, no matter what obstacles you encounter, no matter what judgment and criticisms you receive, you can take the feedback, you can take the lessons if there's a lesson to be learned there, but you can keep pushing forward. Because the worst thing, and I've seen it happen, I've heard about it from other people, is this dance that is so beautiful, that brings so much joy. Even me thinking about it and talking about it makes me smile because of how much happiness it has brought to my life, not just through the dance itself, but through every rippled connection out. It's if it's something that is of interest to somebody else, I would hate for you to drop it because of some insecure, egotistical, misrepresenting their preferences as judgment. I would hate for that person to make you quit. That's my main point. Wade, um, why saying yes to a dance with different times than us can open new doors? You're the embodiment of the spirit of exploring new styles. Um, Great question. Why saying yes to dances with people who dance different styles or different timing can open new doors? I mean, it's the same even with dancing with somebody who dances on two, right? There are many dancers that I dance with. I think I just posted a video. It's on my Instagram and on YouTube with Chris Moreno, and he's got a lot of funk in his style. He is hip hop trained. I think he does breakdancing as well. But he's got a different expression. He approaches music and how he hears it is different. And when I dance with him, my style is different. It's not a style that would come out with other people. Like I could dance with someone like Leon or someone like Terry, and those moves to the same song, we could be dancing to the same song, and those movements would not be inspired to come out of me because I'm not thinking that way. That's not my way of thinking or approaching the dance. But when I danced with him, I I was inspired. Right? I would see how he was listening to the music and see how he was using his body to interpret the music and say, interesting. I'd like to try that. That looks like fun. And that is the best way to approach the dance, is to look at your partner or to look at somebody else and first look at kind of the three elements, right? Are they connected to each other? Are they do they look like they're having fun? And are they connected to the music? If at least the connection with each other and the having fun, if those two things are present, like even if they're not connected to the music, but if those two things are present, but if all three things if all three things are present, most definitely you should be looking at that as an inspiration. If the first thing that pops into your head is to say that's wrong, that's not the right way to do it, and criticize it, I mean, there's something wrong with you. There's something internally that you need to address when you see people that are connecting with each other, having fun with each other, and connecting with the music, and all you got is negativity. I feel sorry for those people because unfortunately you are missing out. Any thoughts on this? Sorry for it's been a bit of a rant because it's a touchy topic. Again, not so much for me because I don't care. I built my thick skin early on in my dancing and it's been solid. When I see comments, I kind of look at them and say, why? Not, oh my God, I feel like shit because I just read this comment about my dancing. I just look at the comment and say, why? but I don't engage. I think that there was another live chat about the engagements that we have and being selective about the engagements that we have to maintain our, you know, mental health and our emotional health. But typically, if I see comments, I'll approve them. I don't delete them. I let them exist, but um, I just don't get affected by them. I just question, and I let them exist because they allow me to have moments like this where I can do a live chat on something that I think is important. And maybe it doesn't affect me, but I know it affects a lot of other people. And I've seen people feel super discouraged from continuing their pursuit of dance and expressing themselves the way they want to express themselves because of the nonsense that they see, because of the super judgmental, critical people out there with on social media. So I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's healthy, neither for the person that's commenting negatively, because you're just reinforcing that negativity within yourself. And then you're spreading it into the community and getting more people on board with you so they can also be negative. And then you're impacting the person who's actually having fun and trying to be creative and curious. And you might make them quit. So think about it. Um, think about how you're interacting. Think about the people you are directly impacting or indirectly impacting. Once you put your voice out there, it's there. Someone has heard it. And today, with social media, many people have heard it. And so you have a responsibility when you communicate to communicate well and to be a constructive contribution to the community that you are in, whether that's uniquely dance, or maybe your particular city that you live in, or just the world at large. That's what I think we should try to bring to our lives, is this approach of being constructive contributions to society, to our communities, to our relationships, to the people who are around us. And one of the ways to start that is by being mindful about what we're saying, what we're commenting on, what we're posting to other people, and encouraging better behavior and better comments, and encouraging people to open their mind, not because your way is the right way, but because it's opens many more opportunities and ends up having a positive ripple effect at the end of the day. Um, I think that's all I've got for today. I did manage to make it in less than an hour. I was trying to do 30 today, but whatever. An hour is not bad. Usually this is like an hour and 30 or so. If you enjoyed this topic, if there are any comments that you have, by all means, leave them in the comments below or right now. Or if you would like to provide more detailed feedback, which I very much appreciate, you can go to magnagopal.com/feedback and just complete the form. And in that form, if there's any other topic you want me to discuss, you can let me know there as well. Also, if there's anything personal you want to share that don't want to put into public comments, you can share them there as well. If it's topic related, I can address it. Obviously, your information would be hidden and anonymous. I wouldn't share that, just address the actual comment itself. And of course, if you would like to support the channel even more, there's a link to give a coffee donation. I would be more than glad to take a coffee from you and continue the work that I do. And lastly, easiest way is to hit subscribe, hit like, share it with other people who might find this information useful, especially if you found it useful. My goal with the whole Empowered with Magna is to be that constructive contribution, that positive contribution to the communities that I belong in. Dance is a big part of my life. The relationships I've had with people that have developed into beautiful blossoming friendships, but also the very fleeting ones that I have with someone whose name I don't know, but I just shared an amazing 5-minute dance with, and the people who are just around in this community who help support and build and keep this community growing and thriving. My responsibility is to continually try to bring something positive to hopefully empower us to be better individuals, better dancers, better partners, better communicators, better leaders, better everything that we could possibly be. So that is all for today. I will see you all on May 2nd will be our next live chat. If you have any ideas for any live chats, by all means, shoot me a message, Instagram or Facebook or through my website, magnagopal.com. Send me an email. Let me know what you're struggling with or what you're thinking about or what you've encountered that you wished was addressed in more detail. I would be glad to work on something for the next live chats that are coming up. And don't forget to check out Empowered with Magna, the audio podcast, shorter than this, so you can listen to it in like 10 to 15 minutes. It's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, everywhere that you listen to podcasts, you can find it there. And that's it from me. I hope you all have a lovely day, and I look forward to connecting with all of you soon. Thank you, guys. And the challenge of leaving the room begins.